What's up, guys? Today we are going to be finishing up the WiiOaster knock-on table. At the very least, we're going to be finishing this back plate. So we're going to be tracing out the back ports of the WiiOaster, then cutting out the individual ports, and seeing if we can get it to look somewhat like the original back of the Wii. I'm a little hesitant about how good this is going to turn out. Because I'm not great at precision work with plastic, but we'll see how it goes. Also, for those of you guys who are new to the project, last time we did finish up the main body of the WiiOaster. We got all the internals installed. The main back shell fits perfectly. We just have to fix the back panel so these can come through. And I'm not sure if I left the last video or not, but I did last time mark on here where the USB ports actually hit, so that we've got the height and distance side to side matched up correctly. And basically what I did was I installed this without the metal shell on, traced around the ports. Also, I found the bottom plate, so we can actually put the bottom piece back on now. It's going to take some money to get it back on. This clip here actually is being interfered with by the base plate we put in, so not going to work. So we'll have to knock that guy off, and then we'll probably just put some sticky putty on the bottom to hold it in place. But more or less that's what we're looking at on the bottom side, which no one's going to see anyway, so it doesn't really matter, but I want to hide those wires just because I need to. So anyway, also you couldn't really see it in the last video. I remember this, the Wi-Fi module. I stuck the one here on the right beside the fan. It's just kind of wedged in here. Probably not the best place for a Wi-Fi module, but I don't really know what else to do with it, so that's where it's going. Also, we probably need to get that at least flush, and it probably shouldn't contact there. We're probably going to move that for the end of the video, but I don't know where yet. So we'll come back to it. So it's not the main focus of today's work. Today's work is I don't have my child today, so we are going to knock out as much of this as possible. I am going to clean this off a little bit. This is my dollar store cleaning brush that I've had for many, many years. It goes into a little tube. I use it for all my really super nasty, dusty things, so that it's really good at getting into the nooks and crannies and such, but it's not great at doing detail work. But I've found over the years that if you use the same brush for dust work and detail work, that you just ruin the brush that much faster. And if you have a dedicated one for dust, the detail brush lasts a lot longer. And the dust one just doesn't care because you're just dusting with this. So that crap's all stuck on there. You're not going to see it anyway, so I'm probably just going to leave it because I'm trying to get this done and off of my bench. And that may sound lazy, but it is what it is. So we need the back of the Wii. Also, I picked up this cool TIE Fighter at Walmart. It was actually one of the original TIE Fighters from the original series, which is pretty cool. All the rest of them they had were from the Force Awakens, and I didn't really like the black TIE Fighter. But I found they had one original gray, so I snatched it up. I'm not a collector or anything, I just like Star Wars, and it was cool. And I was buying the baby a toy, so she's not a baby anymore, but I keep calling her a baby. I was buying the Squish a toy, and she thought I should have one too, so I was like, why sure, I will get one too. Anyway, so in a previous video, I'll link it up in the corner. We actually traced out the original ports on here by doing a crayon scrub against the actual ports. And then we traced it on the inverse with a Sharpie. So we're going to see how well that lines up with the actual ports, which I found this in my scrap pile. I thought it was actually two pieces that clamshell together, but it's one whole piece with a bottom on it. So we may actually just sit this where we need to put it and trace through the original holes. We might use the calipers and measure it out. I haven't gotten it yet. We'll figure it out. Can you guys see that? Let me check. Not really. Let me angle it a little more this way so you guys can get a better look here. So here's the outline we did, and here's the actual console. And that's going to be a smidge imprecise for my taste. Again, I am not great with precision work, so I want to try and get this as close as possible. But it does look like the actual port's cut off a good ways before the bottom of the console there, so we might use that still as a baseline. Basically what I'm thinking is we'll trace these ports here, and then what we'll do from there is use this bottom line, which seems to be consistent all the way across on the board, which is where the actual ports end, and use that as the bottom of how far we're going to cut out for this initial run, and then if we need to take more off, we can take more off. So to do that, we're going to line up my original marks with the marks on the paper here, and we're going to use Precision Sharpie. Where are your Precision Sharpie? And mark on this guy, but we'll use this as a template on paper and go from there. So what we're going to do is we'll come down here, if you guys can see this, and we'll just trace out the original ports with my super precision Sharpie. So that looks a lot more precise than my original drawing. And it's going to go this way. Let's tear off this back half and make this a little easier. One of the important things when you're doing precision work is always start with new tools. My current box cutter is disgusting. So we're going to toss that blade and get a new one. Then we can cut very precisely where we need to cut. I'm also going to trim this up. Am I ever going to use this for anything? Maybe. Am I ever going to use this for anything? No. What we're going to do is we're going to cut down as close as we can get to the actual design here to make it that much easier to put into place. Which means we probably need to actually cut off my measurements here on the top. And probably just trim up a bit back here because I know there's some stuff behind that that's going to get in the way. I'm sure there's going to be someone who watches this in the future who yells at me for not using an X-Acto knife for that. But you know what? My little heavy-duty knife here works just fine. Thank you very much for your input. If I did everything precisely in the proper way, this channel would be absolutely no fun to watch. At least that's how I see it. Handcrafting things is way better than machine crafting them, in my opinion. It takes a lot of skill to handcraft things. I mean, granted, it does take a lot of skill to program a CNC correctly. That is not one of my fine points. I am terrible at computer-aided design. I tried my hand at CAD a while back. Yeah, once it gets past 2D, I can't do it. And that makes me sad because it's something that I really want to do. I want to do 3D printing and all these fun things that you can do with 3D modeling, and I just absolutely suck at it. It's probably because I'm not very artistic, despite what my projects may have you believe. Okay, tape. Pro tip I just remembered. Cut your tape strips ahead of time. You guys definitely can't see that, that's off camera. I actually have a small piece of duct tape stuck to my table specifically for sticking pieces of electric tape to. Duct tape sticks to itself very well, and it sticks to most other things very well. But electrical tape does not stick to duct tape very well. So it makes a really nice spot that I can just slap my tape down onto and keep it ready. Sure. Should take the top corner down there. Alright, so here's what we're going to do to kind of keep this paper where it's at, because it will be more or less correct where it is now. That's where the board's going to sit. Line up right there. And we'll cut off the upper section with USB on it. My original plan was to come in with the drill some pilot holes, and then take the coping saw and go around the edges. But as luck would have it, my drill is dead, so we're going with plan B, not the pregnancy prevention pill, but my second plan. Proof I need more coffee. I'm making jokes that are that bad. We're going to use handy dandy tool I picked up from my dad a million years ago. RotoZip. It's a rotary tool. Similar to a Dremel, but a lot bigger, a lot bulkier. It was actually made originally to do drywall cutouts. So you draw your cutout in the drywall, punch the hole, and these side flutes here will actually cut also. Instead of on a drill bit, only the flutes on the end cut, which is why you're not supposed to like wallow holes out with them, because it's not made to do it. This is made to do that. But as I mentioned earlier, anytime you're doing precision work, start with new bits. So we're going to be using saber cut zip bits. This is for wood and plastic siding. I can't imagine this is any more hard to cut through than plastic siding is. So I think the key is to do it carefully and not overheat the bits. I've used this tool on plastic before, and sometimes the bit just gets hot. It actually just melts through. So this uses a collet system. There's a little button you hold in and then loosen it up. There it goes. So it looks like because it's been so long since I've used it, the collet was kind of jammed up in there. Yeah, we're going to have to take this all the way off and unjam it. Don't hold cutting blades while you're trying to turn them. There we go. Yeah, you can see it's kind of a little bit of rust in there, but not bad. So, tool, call it. One of the things I don't like about this tool is that it does use a different size collet than the Dremel does. So you can't use Dremel bits in it. And it's hard to justify buying a Dremel when I already have this thing. Even though the Dremel does a lot more delicate work. Whoa. So that's new. My locking mechanism just broke. Well, I guess we're going to do a intermittent tear down of a rotary tool. We're going to try this the dangerous way first, which is turn it on and see if it unlocks itself. And that way, are you still plugged in? Okay, it's not unlocking itself. I really don't want to take this whole damn thing apart. handle off. Cool, we're gonna do an impromptu fix it, whatever day this is. I'm not taking it apart again. So, my trigger method doesn't work, which means we're gonna have to do this the hard way. How are we gonna do this? I guess that. Like that? Is that gonna work? Yeah, but I don't like it. Alright, so basically I'm gonna have to cut off the audio on this bit while I'm actually working. So I'll explain it before I get started. Basically the game plan here is these bits are made to punch through and cut on the side. So we're going to try and cut in a little away from the edge, move to the edge, cut along the edge, and so on. And since my trigger's broken, we're trying to go full speed the whole time. And it's going to be really loud, so I'll probably just cut off the volume and put on some music here. So, here we go. Whew. Good God, that thing's loud. Did a pretty good job. It's definitely not as pretty as I want it to be, but we'll clean that up with the individual saws and knives and such. We got a hole. That clips in there. That's what I was afraid of. It's off just a smidge. So it's not quite there yet. We did go a little far this way, which is how the original thing had it, so it's not that big of a deal, but you need to cut off a smidge more for the other USB port. And this actually will slide up a little more. So the height alignment is correct, we just need to go a little bit over. Precision Truckee. There, I'd say. I don't think this material takes well to a knife. Not even close. So it's the saw or the rotor zip. So here's where I'm at. If I use the saw, I can't get over and turn the blade. If I use the rotor zip, I can't control it that well. So I'm a bit of a bind here. But I think if I make a platform for the rotozip for this to sit on and use the rotozip with both hands, maybe we can do that. So I bought this lamp yesterday, which is just off screen, so you shouldn't be able to see it. If you can see it, there's a huge glare on the camera. I'm sorry, it may have moved since I set it up. But it came with this clamp on the bottom of it. I had no way of actually clamping it, so I took the clamp off and now it's a desk lamp. But I think if we can get this out of the way, we can just use this as a platform for this to sit on. We got a big cutting area underneath. I'd like to just take this whole thing off, but I don't know that it's worth my trouble. Just so we can see how well it's made. Just pop it off. Or we could just unscrew entirely. Fantastic. So that is, we set this down, put what we're cutting on it, make a nice solid platform, and then we'll go in and clean it up like that. And I think that's what we're going to do. Since I have very clear cut lines this time, and something solid to hold it on. Also, I gotta get rid of the guide. The guide's blocking my vision too much to do clean cuts. So, again, I'm gonna have to cut the audio off here, and I'll see you guys in a minute. It is slightly rounded still, but I think it's a lot better than it was. Definitely cut over a little bit there more than I wanted to, but I don't think it'll be that noticeable. That's funny. There's a little tray there. I'm definitely gonna have to vacuum later. This is gross. Alright, so let's get this down here. There we go. What do you guys think? Obviously I cut out a little more than I needed to, but again, I am not great at precision work, and I'll take what I can get. So we can use both ports now. Completely fine. See how well that goes in there? Fantastic. This does actually come up just a smidge more once we tighten it down. But yeah, cool. That was a long way to get one port done. May end up cutting a lot of this out, just for time's sake, because this video is already going to be an hour long with just that little bit, probably. I try to cut these things down, guys, but there's so much work that goes into this. It's hard to make it fit in a timely video and leave in details that are important. So basically what we're going to do, I may or may not just cut all of this out and just show you what I'm doing versus how it turns out. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing. We're going to cut out a hole for the fan, these slots here, and we'll just kind of check them as we go. With this one, with how it's laying, I am actually going to just tape the piece of paper down, and we're going to go through the paper because it's so hard to see and transfer cut lines to the plastic here. It's just going to be easier if I do it with the paper attached. We'll basically just get some rough shapes cut in, and then we'll clean it up once we're done. Alright, so again, I'm just going to throw this on here and have at it. So what worked best? That worked really well around the elbow. Sorry about the camera cutting off. I have no idea how or why that happened, but it means that we missed all the work that went into finishing the back panel. I ended up getting the ports all cut to size, and so it's the same size as the original ports. And then I realized that you couldn't plug the cables in because these are not flush like they are on the Wii. So we had to actually go back in and cut the holes significantly wider to get the plugs in there. So the video is a good example. It's a pretty good sized cable. So we had to cut around to get it to fit in there. Same with the power. It's not as bad, but it still has a pretty good chunky shroud on it. So we still have to make room for that to be able to plug in. But yeah, that's all you missed. It's probably about 2 to 3 hours of work. So I guess that's good. I didn't have to cut it out of the videos, but there was some good stuff in there you missed. I did end up relocating the Wi-Fi. What I ended up doing is taping it to the back about right here. It's just taped in with electrical tape, and that's just going to be good enough. So if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But we have gotten it all cleaned up. I got all the Goodwill gunk off of it. It's already gotten fingerprints on it again. But I will do a full showcase video showing off all the functions and how cool it is when it's actually powered up and working and all that jazz. But just want to give you guys a good wrap up here. So anyway, like the video if you liked it, dislike if you disliked it. Let me know in the comments if you guys have any ideas for future projects. This was going to wrap this one up. I'm a little sad to see it go, but I am glad to be done also. I do have a lot of cool stuff coming in the future, so be sure to subscribe so you can check all that content out when I get it done. See you guys in the next one.